Hello friends, I am Dr. Amol Pathak. I am the Assistant Professor in Department of Practice of Medicine at Jawaharlal Nehru Homeopathic Medical College, Parul University. Today I am going to make a video on mental status examination. Friends, as we all know that the cornerstone of any prescription or any diagnosis is the examination of the patient. So we all know about the different components of physical examination of the patient. So if we discuss about the physical examination, we can broadly classify it under two headings, that is the general physical examination and the systemic examination. Now this general and systemic physical examination, this is again classified into different types. Say for example, if you are doing the general examination of the patient, you have to see for the height, weight, the skin, eyes, etc. And when it comes to the systemic examination, we have four different components, that is the inspection, palpation, percussion, auscultation, etc. So today we are going to discuss about an interesting topic, that is the mental status examination. So we all know that the mental status examination is the cornerstone of any psychiatric history taking, as well as it is the main point, important point on which the psychiatric prescription is based. But even if you are a homeopath, the mental status examination is the important point that you have to consider. Why? Because as a homeopath, most of our prescriptions are based on the mental symptoms of the patient. So generally we collect the mental symptoms simply by asking the questions to the patients or to the relatives. But this mental status examination, if you learn it thoroughly, you will come across with very interesting things, and you can understand that how to collect the mental symptoms of the patient. So for a beginner, this mental status examination will definitely be very helpful in collecting the mental symptoms. So let us start with mental status examination. First, try to understand what is the meaning of mental status examination. So mental status examination is nothing but it is the description of patient's appearance, his attitude, his behavior, his emotions, his speech, his thoughts, his intelligence and memory during the interview session. So I repeat, different components of the mental status examination. It is the description about the patient's appearance, attitude, behavior, emotions, speech, thought, intelligence and memory. So these are the different components which you have to assess during the mental status examination. So now you have to apply a logical sequence, which step or which component you have to examine at the beginning. Once you get experienced, you can assess all these components at a single point just by the looking at the patient. But as a beginner, you have to go step by step. Don't rush in doing the mental status examination and don't jump to the conclusion. So let us first begin with the appearance and attitude of the patient. Now what do I mean to say by the appearance and attitude of the patient is, when the patient comes to your OPD, what was the appearance of the patient? Whether he was tidy, untidy, how was his grooming, whether the patient was smelling of something, say for example alcohol, tobacco or any other thing. Okay, so you have to look out for these things. Many of the psychiatric illnesses are there which grossly affects the appearances of the patient. Say for example, the patient who is suffering from schizophrenia will have a different appearance. A patient who is having the narcissistic personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder, he will be having different appearance. the patient who is having anxiety spectrum disorders, the appearance will be different. The patient who is having severe depression, the appearance of that patient will be different. Okay, so you have to see for the grooming of the patient and whether if that patient is having some smells like alcohol, tobacco, etc. जो common, these are the common findings. Now from attitude, what I mean to say is whether the patient is cooperative or uncooperative, and when you ask the questions whether you are able to establish a rapport with the patient or the rapport is not established. The second thing what you have to see is whether the patient is friendly or unfriendly, whether the patient is hostile. So you have to see whether these things are with you or with the family members also. If he is hostile to the family members or hostile to you, whether he is cooperative or uncooperative. So these are the essential components you have to see when the patient is entering to your cabin and now you are trying to establish a rapport with the patient. So once you are done with the first step, that is the examination, that is the appearance and the attitude of the patient, you can go to the second step. Now what you have to do is you have to look at the motor behavior of the patient. Now what is motor behavior? Motor behavior is nothing but the capacity to initiate the action. So what do I mean to say by the capacity to initiate the action is, say for example, now the patient is sitting in front of you on the chair. You have to spend few seconds to look on the behavior of the patient, whether you notice any abnormal behaviors. Say for example, there are various psychiatric illnesses which are manifested by characteristic behavioral patterns. Say for example, if the patient is suffering from paranoid personality disorder, he will be having a constant behavior of looking upon the shoulders like this. He will be constantly looking upon the shoulders. If suppose the patient is suffering from anxiety spectrum disorders, there will be specific behaviors like constant tapping or restlessness of the legs or constant rubbing or nail biting or plucking on the hairs. If suppose the patient is having histrionic personality disorder, he will be having a constant motor behavior. So this is how you have to look for any repetitive stereotypical motor behavior that will give you the idea about the underlying psychiatric illness. So if you do not notice any abnormal motor behavior, then it's okay. If you notice any abnormal motor behavior, just note it down and proceed to the third step. Now what is the third step of mental status examination? What you have to do is, now you have to try to see whether the patient is oriented or not. Okay, now what do I mean to see by orientation is you have to ask about the to the patient about three important factors, that is the time, place and person. So you can ask what is the time, what is this place, what is your name, who is accompanying with you. So you may ask what is the point of asking this orientation. Now there are various psychiatric illnesses, say for example the substance abuse disorders, schizophrenia, amnesia, Alzheimer's disease, etc. So in these disorders the orientation is completely lost. The patient is unable to tell his own name, the patient is unable to identify the attendant, the patient is unaware where he has brought to. Okay, so if you want to rule out these disorders, you must have to take or spend some time to assess the orientation of the patient. Now for a beginner you must have to spend the time. With experience you can learn that the patient is oriented or not in time, place and person just by looking on the patient. No need to ask the question. Okay, but for the beginner it is necessary that you spend some time on checking the orientation. Now once you are done with these three steps, that is the appearance and attitude, the second motor behavior and the third orientation, Now you have to see for the emotional state of the patient. Fourth thing, so we are applying the step by step approach. The fourth step is seeing for the emotional status of the patient. Now what is a emotional state? So emotion is a very complex feeling state which have different components: psychiatric component, somatic component and behavioral component. Now what do I mean to say by these three components is, say for example, if you are angry at this moment, or if you are very happy at this moment, if you are anxious at this moment, there will be different things happening inside your body at these three levels: at the psychiatric level, at the somatic level and at the behavioral level. So explanation of different events at the psychiatric level is very complex. If you are angry, say for example, if you are angry, your somatic component will be your heart rate will be increased, there will be perspiration, blood pressure will be increased, and behavioral component will manifest in the form of your voice will be louder, your eyes will be red, your activities will be very forceful. Okay, so this is the emotional state which have three different components. You have to see for the emotional status of the patient. Then you have to see for the mood. What is mood? If suppose a particular emotion is present for a very longer period of time, it colors the perception of life of that patient. Say for example, some patients may say, I am hopeless, I am useless, there is no future to me. Okay, or the patient will or the maniac patient will say that there are lots of opportunities, lots of good things are going on, and etc etc. They will try to find out everything positive in any aspect. So that is the perception about the life. And the third thing is affect. Affect means it is the intensity of any emotion.